Here it is. This is the Saltbox. This is a single panel weathered cedar, sun-bleached wood, and smoke-worn stone woven polyester cap. The Saltbox is a one-of-a-kind scally cap inspired by the iconic New England homes that have stood for centuries. This single-panel patchwork cap reflects the pieced-together, practical nature of traditional Saltbox architecture. Sturdy, smart, and full of character. Here is the cap in hand. This is the Saltbox by, of course, the Boston Scally Company. And this is a re-release. This is a nice looking cap. This looks, this was actually, it was definitely a fan favorite from what I could tell from the social media and the reviews and things like that that were already on YouTube. So again, this is a re-release. But what Boston Scally did do is they actually did release the Saltbox in a couple of other colors. There was like a kind of like an ocean looking blue, some things like that. I think just a solid brown, some things like that. But for me, they didn't look nearly as interesting as the original that they released last year. This was the one that I thought was the most eye-catching of all of those. So I went ahead and definitely got this one. And this did release with a pen as well. And oh my goodness, this pen, I think this pen, it went within 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what I've noticed a lot with the newer releases is what's happening. You know, of course, people will snatch these up and they'll resell them on eBay and third-party places like that. But what I'm really noticing lately is that people are grabbing these pens as soon as they come out, and then they are reselling these pens because these, when they do come out, they're only about $8-9 with tax, something like that, these pens. But then, of course, the resellers are selling it for about $40 for a little pen. So, you know, they're going to do it. So you just, if you really want it, you've just got to be on the money with it. But what was interesting is for the Saltbox, most of their releases are at noon. Boston Scally's releases either Wednesday or Fridays, but this actually, I think it was about 11:30. I looked, and the Saltbox, the shirt, the tank top, which I got, which I really like. I like the Saltbox tank top, and so this, and as well as the pen, it released early on the site, way before noon. The hat still wasn't available, so I was like, this pen's gonna go. So I went ahead and got the tank top, and I got the pen, and then waited about 30 minutes later, and a separate order did the cap. I didn't really want to do that because of shipping, but I still got, you know, the little amount off. So it wasn't a huge deal, but I'm glad I did get this pen because here it is on the cap, and of course I will show it there as well. But it's a nice looking pen. I think it's a cool pen that goes very well with this cap. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't really know what a Saltbox house was because I am from the South. But apparently these are very popular housing structures in New England. The only thing I really know about it, New England, being from the South, is that the film Jaws was shot there at Martha's Vineyard. So please excuse my ignorance on the Saltbox houses. But that's about all I know about New England. But cool looking houses, and so I think that this cap does a really good job at replicating those type of houses. And of course, with the pen, it just completely sells it. The look, and this is, for me, a very unique cap from Boston Scally because it feels, as you can see, the textures, you can actually, I might not be able to see it right here, but a little bit, you can actually see through this cap in the sunlight. So it has this mesh material in here, and I don't know how many other Boston Scally caps have that, but really neat. So this is a very lightweight cap. Perfect for summertime, which is coming up. A great summer cap. And what is so cool about this material, take it off one more time. What's so cool about this material is it almost, to the touch, feels like a little bit not quite as coarse, but a little bit like burlap is what this kind of feels like to me. So I don't know of any other Boston Scally caps that do that. So I thought that was really neat. And just the moment you touch this cap, you can tell it's different. It's different from most of what Boston Scally offers. So I thought that was really neat. And Moose actually, in his review, touched on that. And many of others have as well touched on the fact that they really want Boston Scally to go this way. Kind of, the more simplistic, not all the gimmicky collab type caps. I'm a fan of them. I like them. But, I still think that Boston Scally, they did re-release this. And, sometimes they do have, more simplistic caps. They're still releasing those. People sometimes, I think, act like they're not. But I think they are. But with that being said, they are releasing a Slush Puppy cap this Friday. So, hey, I kind of just disproved my point. But I think that as far as just the a nice, classic, traditional looking cap that you're not going to find anywhere else. I think the Saltbox is a great example of that. It looks so good on the head too. I love the single panel style with this one, with the Saltbox. And the pin as well, like I said, it's just such a nice touch on this cap. So, and before I do finish up here, I did want to say thank you so much for that was my mother in the intro. So she agreed to act a fool with me there dancing. So thank you to her for doing that. We actually just ate dinner over at their house. That's where I'm at. And we made some burgers and stuff. And so I incorporated. I was like, hey, why not? We'll incorporate this into the intro. So it was a fun time, and I'm kind of stuffed right now. So really good burgers that my stepfather makes, by the way. So all I did was flip them. Anyways, back to the Saltbox. But again, thank you to my mom, because without that intro wouldn't have been quite as great as it was without her. So I'm going to go ahead and one more point before I do close here. This cap, unlike a lot of the Boston Scally caps now, it did not come with a dust bag. So no dust bag with the Saltbox, but that's okay. Sometimes, and especially on the earlier releases, they didn't have the dust bags with the caps, and so this is one of those. No dust bag, not a huge draw against it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rate the Saltbox. I do rate on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. I am going to give the Saltbox a solid 4. I think this is a great looking cap. My point of contention is right here. You see the gray. It just, I know you only have so many spots on the cap, and here as well, but on the sides, the gray, you have the colors clashing right here, are coming together more, rather. So, and then into the brim, which is gray as well. I'm not the biggest fan of that when that happens, just when the colors kind of overlap like that. I think it takes away just a little bit from the cap, but that's just my little point of contention, my little quibble with this one. Otherwise, if I go to the beach this year, I do live close enough. It's about a 7-hour drive, but I can, we do go to the beach occasionally for a vacation. So if I go to the beach this year, this bad boy is going with me. This is such a great looking cap, perfect for out by especially the beach, but even the pool, out if you're doing this stuff in the yard in the summer. I think it'd just be a great cap. It's so breathable, it's so thin on top, so just a very, very nice from the cap from the Boston Scally Company. So thank y'all so much for joining me today, and I do hope that y'all have a great rest of your day.